Hey everybody, welcome to Mountain Made Creations. I am Jill and I'm so happy to be here with you guys today. So if you are watching on Facebook, comment below and let me know where you're watching from. If you're catching this on a replay, comment that you checked this video out and let me know what you think. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, welcome to my channel. I hope that you will subscribe if you like my videos. And today we are going to be working on some resin earrings. So I'm going to be going to a couple craft shows in November and December, which I normally only do fall. So this is something I'm really looking forward to. So I wanted to make a variety of items to sell at that craft event. I mainly have my wood rounds because they are pretty popular. And I like to have other items as well, just a variety of prices and all that good stuff. So today we're going to be working with resin, and we are going to be using these molds, all different kind of molds. All of these molds came from Maker Studio. The resin that I use is Maker Studio Glacier resin, acrylic resin that I got from them that is amazing. That's what I use for all of my earrings. And we're also going to be using some mica powders that came from Maker Studio as well. These came in a kit. There's all different colors. I really like the mica powders because they're kind of glittery and you can mix and match and make different designs. You can even make something that looks kind of like tortoise shell earrings, and I do have some of those, but they're packed away in my tote for the craft event, so I can't show you those. But these are just really, really pretty. We're gonna make some using this mica powder. Also, another way that you can decorate resin in the earring molds is using sprinkles. Like these are just like cupcake or cake sprinkles that they are fall leaves and all that good stuff. You can actually add this to your mold and put the resin over it. It's super cute. This is a glitter that I had from, I think it came from Michael's, but this is like Christmas glitter. It's really, really pretty in the resin. And then these are some more sprinkles that I picked up. I think these might have come from, they came from Joann's, but I got them on clearance. But these are just like cake sprinkles. Hey partner, how you doing? Thank you. I hope you're enjoying those sunrise and sunsets until we get there. So these are just other ways that you can decorate the resin. Now, this is like a blue, it's got blue and it's got stars in it and little snowmen in there. You can sprinkle this right in the resin. It doesn't matter if it's candy or not. You can still use it. It's really cute. I don't know if I probably won't be using any of that, but I'm going to go ahead and get started mixing this because, as you know, it takes 3 minutes to mix it. Now, when you are using this resin, make sure that you wear a mask and gloves. I know I'm not wearing a mask, but I have the window open. I have the ventilator system running. I can't wear a mask and do a live. It's just, you wouldn't be able to hear me. So I'm not using a mask. I'm going to take my watch off. But I suggest that you do because you don't want to get sick or anything from the resin. This doesn't really have a lot of fumes. It doesn't really bother me that much. Some of that UV resin I can't use because it's terrible. It gives me terrible headaches. Rainy and cloudy today. Oh, well, you know what? A rainy day at the beach is better than a work day. That's all I can say. So I'll bring the sun when we come on Wednesday. All right, so glacier resin is a 2-part resin, and you have to mix equal parts. And I would show you the label, but my craft room is in my basement, so it's cooler down here, and I have struggled with air bubbles a lot. So I put them in a butter dish with hot water a few minutes before I mix it. That just helps with the air bubbles. It helps mixing and all that good stuff. So you have 1 part resin and 1 part hardener, and you mix them equal parts. So they have to be equal or your resin won't cure properly. So I'm going to use this, I always forget what this is called. Oh my goodness, silicone measuring cup because it pops right out once it dries. Goodness gracious. So I'm gonna mix the equal parts, and you have to stir it for 3 minutes, but if you need it to be clear, so if it has a milky look to it, it's not mixed all the way yet. So it may take longer than 3 minutes, but I'm just measuring this up so I can see where to stop, because you want to make sure that you get exact measurements of both, or it will not cure properly. And I have done that before. It's not fun. But you know what? Every time I do some, and I learn something every time, so it's always a good thing. If you're not learning, then you're not doing something right. All right, so now we're gonna mix, and this is self-leveling. So what that means is that if I put it in these molds and leave it, it will level out. So this is really good resin. I love it, love it, love it. So I have this in the cup, and I'm just going to stir it for 3 minutes. I'm going to stir it really, really slow. I have had a lot of trouble with bubbles, and I have done so much research, and so I think I'm finally figuring it out that you have to stir it really, really slow. I was stirring it like a crazy woman before I even knew that. I was like, oh my goodness. So, and then I use alcohol in the molds. I use the lighter to pop the bubbles. You can also use a heat gun to pop the bubbles. The only thing about a heat gun is it blows the resin, so it'll move a little bit, and you don't want it to, you don't really want it moving around. So I'm just gonna stir this for 3 minutes, and it feels like it takes forever, and I'm the most impatient person on this planet, but this is a very important part, to mix it slow, and it kills me to mix it this slow, but it's just what you gotta do. So the mica powders, I'm going to be putting those in these little cups, and I'm telling you, you don't need to use very much mica powder at all. So one of those little containers will last forever. You don't want to mix too much, because if you mix too much mica powder in the resin, it'll cause your resin not to cure properly. Marcy, it is sunny and 70 degrees on the mountain today. Can you believe that? I can't believe how warm it is. And I was upstairs, and I have the windows open, and you know, I have the guinea birds, you guys, because that's all I post about is these birds. My niece Nevaeh and the birds is probably about all you'll see. But yes, Nevaeh did so good. She did so good. I love working with her because she loves crafting. I think she's the only other person in my family that loves it as much as I do. But my mama just sent me a text a while ago and said she was picking her up from school because she had a bad headache and a fever of 104. So you guys lift Nevaeh up in your prayers. That's pretty high temperature for a little one. She's 6. So say a little prayer for Nevaeh. Hopefully she's going to be okay. So anyway, I had the windows open, and you know, we have the guineas. I have 20 guineas, and they're like my children now. I've gotten so attached to them. I said I wasn't going to get any more dogs because, as you know, I just lost Lucy. And I think that the timing that I got these birds was exactly what I needed. I think the good Lord knew I was going to need those birds, and I have gotten so attached to them. It's kind of scary. So we have a hawk, and the hawk actually got one of my babies. It was actually the week after I lost Lucy. So I only put the birds out now in the evenings when we're out there with them. And I was sitting upstairs, and I had the windows open, and I heard something that sounded like a cat squalling, and it was that daggone hawk. He was sitting in a tree, so when I went outside, he flew off, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I know what he sounds like now. I think he knows when Wayne's not here. It's really weird, but yeah. So I'm just stirring this really, really slow. You can go in figure 8s. You can just go in a circle, however you want to do it. But I'm trying to go slow so I get it mixed and I don't have bubbles, because the bubbles are awful. I also will take this after I finish mixing it and sit it in that warm water for just a few minutes to let the bubbles come to the top. That seems to help also. I did resin some of the pieces that we did the alcohol inks on. I have to show you when I get done doing this, because the alcohol inks on the wood is kind of dull, but then when you put the resin on them, it just completely changes it. So it's amazing how the resin can change what it looks like. And the way you know that your resin is mixed all the way is it's not cloudy at all or milky looking. If it looks milky or cloudy, you definitely want to keep mixing it. And I'm trying to mix it slow to keep the bubbles at bay. So I think it's been 3 minutes, but I want to make sure that I have all this. If you guys missed Nevaeh's live, we did a craft together. So if you missed it, go back and watch it. She's just adorable. She's such a little cutie. Then we did our fall photo session. I love doing photos with her. She's like a natural with it. She does her own little poses, her own everything. She's so grown up to be 6 years old. She's growing way too fast. So I think that this is looking good. There is bubbles in there, and that's okay, because while this is, I'm gonna put it in that warm water to try to get rid of some of the bubbles. And then we'll mix the mica powders, and that is so fun. There's some really pretty golds and silver with like glittery looking, so it's really kind of Christmassy. And I love, love, love using these molds. And I also have pizza boxes back here ready to go. I have the silicone thing in there. That I just use those because it keeps the dust from getting on it or getting in your resin, because you definitely don't want the dust in your resin, because then it's not going to look good. All right, so this looks pretty good. It doesn't really look milky. So now I'm just going to sit it in that tub of water for just a second to let the bubbles kind of come to the top. I'm going to hold it in there. Here are the alcohol ink pieces that we did. This is the alcohol ink without resin. That's with it. How much prettier is it with the resin? I'm telling you guys, the resin really makes these pieces come out. It is so amazing. This is without resin, and that's with resin. So I've got to finish putting resin on the back of these, but I did get finally got the backs of these finished, so I can, and that one, I'm not sure what I did on that one, but you can see the little, I think I didn't get enough resin on there. That's what it looks like. I don't know if you can see the little dots in there. I don't know exactly what that is. And then we finished up these. I had to do the backs of this. And then the Be Kind did the backs. I like to finish the pieces. I like to have resin on the front and the back. All right, so I'm gonna dry this off. All right, another thing that I use is toothpicks. These help pop bubbles. Also, you're gonna need some smaller popsicle sticks to put the mica powder in the little cups. I've got these little cups that came from Dollar Tree. These are really good for mixing little small amounts, so that's what we're going to be using for that. I'm just going to pour it from here into the little cups. And this is a silicone mat that I use. You definitely want to protect your surface, because resin can be really messy and it will mess up your furniture or whatever you get it on, so please be careful. If you get it on your clothes, forget it. Your clothes are ruined. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of resin in this cup, and like I said, you don't need a whole lot. I mean, because this amount that we mix will make a ton of it will make a ton of earrings. So I'm just going to pour some in these cups. And if you get resin on the silicone, if it dries, it will pop right off, so don't worry about that. That's why I use the silicone, because the resin doesn't really stick to it. And another thing I love with the mica powders is the white. I think the white is so, so pretty. And what I may do is put some of the sprinkles in the white. I don't know if that will show up good or not. All right, so I'm going to set this to the side over here. Now we have our little cups of resin. There's a lot of bubbles in there, but that's all right. We can get rid of those when we Now I am going to take my alcohol and I'm going to spritz it in the molds. That will also help with bubbles. All right, so first I'm going to see what this looks like in the resin. This is called Gustavian. I don't know how you say it, but these are all Maker Studio. These came in a kit. And you want to make sure you put the lids right back on them, because if you sneeze or you breathe or anything, they'll go everywhere. It's crazy. So this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to add a little bit with this popsicle stick into the, and I mean, when I say a little bit, like that's it. And then I'm going to mix this and see what it looks like, and if I need to put some more, I'll put some more in there. But the mica powders are more like, it's not like the paint is like a solid. This is more like translucent, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to put just a little bit more in there. I'm going to put that lid back on there. And now I think I want to do some of that white. Strasbourg white. Super pretty. Super pretty. And I know I'm going live at a weird time. I never go live during the day like this, but I'm on vacation. Yay! So that's why I thought I would come live. So I'm just mixing this up. And here, this is what we have. And now I'm going to mix some white. And you don't want to get your don't want to get your popsicle sticks mixed up either. So I hope y'all can see that better now. All right, so let's get some white. And so I'm going to go about this much. Let's see what that looks like. I may have to put some more. And I just get these popsicle sticks at Dollar Tree. I don't know why my camera is doing some funky stuff. Okay, so this is what the white looks like. It's really, really pretty. So I'm gonna do the white and the red in a mold together, kind of like a candy cane. I'm gonna get a little bit more white. Now remember, you don't want to use a whole lot of mica powder because it will cause your resin not to cure properly. So just make sure you're not using a whole lot. You can also put acrylic paint. The craft show, Marcy, I have one on November 5th. It's at the Ventura Studio in Manita. I believe it's on Wirtz Road. So it's down near the lake. And then I have one at a place called Hot Shots on, I can't remember the name of the road, but it's down there near the lake. It's kind of near the Resurrection Church that I just did last weekend. I'll post the information on both of those. So I've got one November 5th and December 3rd is the one at Hot Shots. It's some kind of restaurant and they're doing a craft event. The one is called Ventura Studio, I believe, is the name of it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pour some of the red and some of the white in. I think I'm going to use these rectangular ones, and then they have the tops up here, like the top part of the earring. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of red, and I'm gonna use the stick to pour it in there with. I'm not gonna pour it from the cup because I'd have it all over the place if I did that. So I'm just gonna take a little bit on my stick and pour a little bit in there. And I'm just gonna kind of go around and put it in different places, and then I'll add the white where I didn't put the red. And if you get the resin on the silicone mold on it, it doesn't matter, it pops right off. So I'm just pouring a little bit in different spots. And we can go back. Okay, my mom just texted and said that Nevaeh's temperature is 100, not 104. Thank goodness. All right, so this is what I have so far. So now I'm gonna go around and put in the white in the empty spots. This white is so pretty. I think the white is my favorite. I don't know why, it's just really pretty. And you want to get it all the way to the top of the mold. And so it's self-leveling, so I'm gonna go back over it and make sure like the red is all the way to the top. But the pouring it off of your stick is the way to go, because you have more control over it versus just pouring it from the cup. I would have a huge mess if I tried to pour it from the cup. I usually have a mess anyways, but at least it's a little bit more controlled. But working with resin is one of my favorite things to do, but it is time consuming, because like when I use this isn't as time consuming, but when I do the resin on the wood pieces, you have to let it cure, and then you have to do the other side, or I do the other side, just because I want both sides finished, especially if I'm selling it. And I should be sitting down doing this because I can see better when I'm sitting down, but it's just hard for me to sit down and work. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back in with the red. And you can even swirl this with a toothpick. That's what we'll do with this one. I'll show you how to do that. It really makes a pretty design when you can swirl it around. I'm gonna go back in with the red a little bit, because it's not, and it will self-level and fill out, and then you can go back and look and see if you need to add more to get it all the way to the top. And like I said, if you're working with resin, please take the safety precautions and use gloves for sure, and use a mask. I'm not wearing a mask today because I can't do a live and wear a mask. And I do have my window open. We have a ventilation system in our house. I do have that on. So I am taking precautions. And so I'm making sure that it's filled all the way to the top. And then I will swirl it with the toothpick. Kind of make a candy cane looking design, maybe. I just love the way they turn out, because it's just pretty much your creations, and I love that. I love just coming up with different things. I love seeing how they turn out. And so I'm gonna swirl it with the toothpick, and then I'm gonna first I'm gonna make sure I've got it filled up all the way to the top. And you can wipe it up if you go over. It just wipes right up. I usually use either the stick or a toothpick, Q-tip. But you want to be careful with a Q-tip and not get like cotton particles in your resin. And so the back side of these earrings is going to be the front. The underneath is the front part. So you really don't know what it's going to look like until you pop them out of the mold. Okay, so I'm going to try to pick this up and show you what we have. So there's what we have so far. Now I'm going to take toothpick and kind of swirl it. And just drag some of the red into the white. and some of the white on the red. And then I'm going to swirl it in the little part also. All right, that, I'm loving it. So now I need to make sure that it's not too full, because it looks like it might be a little bit too full over here. So I'm just going to try to rake it off. Okay. And I just want to clean up around it, just so it doesn't have a piece stuck to it when you pop it out of the mold. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So here's what we have. Now I'm gonna sit this over here in the box and shut the lid, because I don't want any dust getting on that. So now I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Actually, no, I'm gonna save that one. Let's do, now this one, it's two sets of molds, but in order to get a pair of earrings, you have to have two. So it came with two to a set. So you would have the whole pair. Because for me, if I'm designing earrings, if I do one, the likelihood of me coming back, popping this one out and doing it again, the exact same thing, is slim to none. It's usually not gonna happen. So I'm gonna do the blue and some of the white. And then we're gonna do, in this one, I'm gonna do some of the little, oh my goodness, the little sprinkles. My brain is not working today. All right, so this is what this one looks like. So, so pretty. This reminds me of snow, even though I'm not a fan. But, so I'm just gonna stir this up a little bit. This is so pretty. And I will, once we get finished, I will get that, all of them back over here and hit them with the lighter, just to pop all the air bubbles that might form on top. So, yeah, and I've got, I'm really gonna try, I don't know if I'll do it today, I may try to do it today, is I wanna do a video, and I'll have to do a pre-recorded video and post it, because I wanna do a video showing you how to make the icon art stencils. I've been wanting to do that for so long, and I just haven't had the time, but now I think I might be able to get that done either today or tomorrow. But I want to show you exactly how you make them, and I have to start on my computer, and then I go to the sink in the kitchen, and then I come down here and hang them to dry. And so it's different parts of my house that I use to make them, and so it's hard to do a live without walking everybody all around. It would just be too difficult, I think. So I do want to do a video so you can see that, because it's so cool. And I've got a couple rounds that I'm working on, but I'm not sure. I've got one and I stained it gray, but I'm not sure what to do on it. I'm thinking I have an idea, and it's like a winter scene with deer in the mountains, but I need some white paint. So I may have to make a run tomorrow to Joann's and get some white paint, because I really want to get those finished before we go fishing this week, later this week. We're tuna fishing. My brother's going to stay here and take care of my birds, but he's always a house sitter. He used to take care of my dogs. So he'll be feeding the birds, taking care of the house. So yeah, we're excited about that. All right, so I have the blue. Look how pretty that is, you guys. So, so pretty. These mica powders are amazing. You can also use alcohol inks in the resin. You can pretty much put anything in the resin. It's really, really cool what you can do. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the blue and the white. Just like I did the red and the white. So yeah, this was my favorite resin to use. Even though it does take longer to cure, I still love it. The UV resin, I haven't had much luck out of that. I did have one, but it was real sticky and it pretty much ruined one of my molds. I don't know what that was all about. But, and then the other brand I used gave me a terrible headache. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to stick with this. Even though I have to wait till the next day, it's okay. I can wait. Because it turns out much better. All right, so I have the blue down. I need some more over here. And now I'm going to put some of the white in there. Let me show you what this looks like so far. So I have the blue in there. And now I'm going to put some white. The last craft show I did last weekend, the earrings were a big hit. I've made tons of earrings just because I love making them. I think it is so much fun coming up with different designs and all that good stuff. It's just a lot of fun. This is my therapy. The wood rounds are also another favorite. And I really want to try some more of the watercolor on the wood rounds. Like we did on the wooden earrings. I loved how that turned out, and I really want to do that again. So I'm going to go ahead and use the toothpick on this as well and swirl it, but I want to make sure I have all the white I can get in there. And I don't know if I don't think I told y'all this, but the resin cures in about 20 minutes. So you don't have to work extremely fast, but you do need to keep that in mind, because it'll start getting thick and it'll be really hard to work with. It seems like it might be getting a little thick now, but that's okay. And you see the little amount that I used. I mean, it doesn't take hardly any resin to make a pair of earrings. All right, so now I'm gonna swirl it with the toothpick. I'm gonna use the other end of this one and just kind of swirl it around. I love the effect that it gives it. Now I want to go and clean up around the edge. So there's what we have so far. And then here's this one. So I want to clean up around it, get any resin that I can off of it. All right, so put these in the trash. Now I'm gonna set these in the box to get a little bit hard, and then I'll put the lighter on them. All right, so now what I want to do, since I have 1 cup left of the just the plain resin, and I'm gonna put it in here, but first I'm gonna put some sprinkles in here. These are sprinkles that came from Walmart, I'm pretty sure. I mean, if I'm ever out and I see like sprinkles on clearance or whatever, like last Christmas they had sprinkles on clearance, so I just pick them up because I knew I'd be using them. And I think, let me get my tweezers. Well, okay, I don't have my tweezers, so what we'll do is I'll try to use these. I don't know what I did with my tweezers. So I'm just gonna pour Actually, I'm just going to use my hand and pour some in there. Maybe, yeah. And so once I get them, I can move them around with a toothpick. So these are like little leaves. They're so cute. And I'm just going to spread them around, and then I'm going to pour some resin over them, and then I'll add some more. It's really good to have tweezers for this, but it doesn't always work. And these don't fit in there real good. I'm not sure how that's going to turn out. Maybe I need to use a different... Well, we'll keep going. We'll see what happens. Maybe I should have used them in this one. They don't fit. If they're sticking out any, you don't want the little sprinkles to stick out on your earrings, because then that's just weird. So I'm just going to put them in the square one that they fit in much better, so they're not sticking up, so you don't have something rough on the back. These little leaves are so cute. So I'm just kind of moving them around, putting them in the mold. And then I'm going to pour the resin over them. And I'm going to pour some in the little squares that's like the top part of the earring. All right, so now we have the leaves all around. All right, once I get them all in there, I'll start pouring the resin in. I think I could use a couple more in this one. And you can use glitter, you can use anything in here. That's what's so fun about it. All right, so let me show you what we have. There's what we have so far. Now I'm gonna pour some of this resin, and I am gonna pour it straight out of the cup on this one, just because it's clear, and I think it'll be all right. Well, you know what? Maybe I better use a stick. I don't wanna make a complete mess. So I'm just gonna pour it right over top of the leaves, the sprinkles. And when you're doing clear like this, that's where your bubbles really show up. So I'm hoping that I can get those bubbles out. Yikes. If there are any. And then these will cure, and then tomorrow at this time I can pop them right out of the mold. And I'm gonna be going live tomorrow, so I'll probably pop them out of the mold with you guys so you can see. And then the only thing left to do is put the earring hardware in them, and you're good to go. All right, so now I need to make sure that I have enough resin in here to cover all of it. But I need to make sure I don't have too much where it's gonna have that flash. And it looks like I do have too much on that. Okay, so now let me use, actually that actually looks really good. Let's get it off the edge here. Make sure that there's nothing on the edges. I guess I better do the little squares that is the top of the earrings. And you can move your stuff around if you need to, like your little sprinkles. All right, now let me get the little squares. And then these will be finished. All we have to do is wait. And so here is what we have. Cute little fall earrings with the leaves. I love, love, love. Looks like I need a little bit more in this corner. And those look good. Okay, so let me put these in the box. Now we're gonna hit them with the lighter. Let me move this. And I just throw these in the trash because those are like Dollar Tree little cups, but they're perfect for mixing the mica powders and the resin, making the colors. You can also use acrylic paint. That comes out really good because it looks really good, and it's easier to hide the bubbles on those. Now I did have a little, well, I just found my tweezers. I had a little tool that you can run around. I guess I'll use a toothpick. You can run around the edge, and that pops all the bubbles that's under, that would be on this part, the front part of your earring. I did have that somewhere. It's like a little dotting tool for your fingernails that I use for this. All right, so here is what I have, and I'm just gonna go around on these that I just did and pop the bubbles, hopefully. Now, if you do this, please, please, please be careful. Don't catch your house on fire. Disclaimer, I'm not responsible for any fires. You can use a heat gun. You can spritz alcohol on it. You can do whatever, but don't spritz alcohol and then use the lighter. Not good. So I'm gonna use the lighter first, and I'm just gonna go around and just pop the bubbles. You can see them pop, actually. And I'll look at it and make sure that everything looks all right. It's kind of hard to see if you've gotten all the bubbles popped. That's the only drawback, is bubbles. So I'm just hitting this lightly with the lighter, popping all those air bubbles on the top, and I'm gonna take a toothpick and go around and make sure that that there's no bubbles on the underneath side. And I have like a silver dotting tool. It's like a metal dotting tool that I used to use for this, but a toothpick will work. So I'm just gonna go put it in and go around the edges of the shape to try to pop any bubbles that might be around the edge. And this could mess up your design, so just be careful. If you have a set design, maybe you don't want to do this, but it does work, because you can get bubbles like around the shape and the edge, and it just drives me crazy. The bubbles in general drive me nuts. So I'm just kind of going around it, trying to pop any bubbles that might be in there around the shape, because they will form, and it's so frustrating. And I'm afraid if I do that on these, it's gonna move the leaves around. So I'm really not gonna be able to do it on that one. So here's what we have so far. So we've got red and white, blue and white, and then the leaves. I think they're gonna be super cute. I'll probably check them again in about an hour and see if there are any more bubbles that I can eliminate with the lighter. But you can use a heat gun, but just be careful. You can also use a hairdryer, but you don't want to put it on a speed that's going to blow your resin around. But heat is what pops the bubbles. And I think you can probably do a little bit of alcohol. That helps too. So I'm just going to cover this and sit this upstairs because your room temperature has a lot to do with how fast your resin will cure, believe it or not. So I was having a lot of issues with that, and it also affects the bubbles too, is the room temperature. So all of that stuff affects it, and it can be very frustrating. So if you're doing this in a cooler room, you might want to take them into another warm room and let them cure. That way it'll cure faster, because mine was taking like 2 days to cure if I didn't take them upstairs because it's cooler down here. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope it helped you in your resin and crafting. I love doing these lives with you guys and telling you the tricks and tips that I've learned from other people, and I'm hoping that it'll help one of you guys. So that's all I have today. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're going to try it. I would love to see your craft projects. So you guys have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a wonderful week, and you guys take care.